Pull up. Pull up.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the last flanker help guide or series video that you'll more than likely get from me. I believe that this video pretty much encompasses everything that you'll really need to know about the flanker and its BVR capability and how to successfully employ its R27ER and its R27ET. They're both very good missiles when used properly and in the manner in which they're supposed to be used. A lot of people don't like the ER or ET because of its inability to track, the fact that it's not a Fox 3, and they think that it can't compete with the AMRAAM. And by the end of this video, you will see that that is not true, and you will see the strengths and the weaknesses of the ER, but more so why it is still an amazing missile and why most people, including myself, still prefer it over the 77. So what you're about to see here is a 2v1 scenario, and in this scenario, obviously, I'm only carrying ERs and ETs. And some of you may wonder, well, how are you going to compete in a 2v1 without Fox 3s? And I'm going to show you how. So one advantage the ER has over the AMRAAM is its range and its kinematic potential, or its speed. It can be fired from farther, and at all ranges it will reach the AMRAAM carrier or the bandit faster than his AMRAAM can reach you, which is the advantage of the ER. The only downside is you have to maintain your lock. Or do you? And as you can see in this video, or in this clip, I launched my ER at a little bit under max range, like 30 miles, just so I can put pressure on the bandit and make him maneuver, which works out in my favor because now he's defensive. Now that gives me time to focus on the second bandit that's pressuring me, this I believe Hornet. I put out a shot on him, and then I get him to go defensive, and I've neutralized both of them at this point. They're both defensive, and now I can press or do whatever it is I need to do. I'm not worried about maintaining lock with ER. I'm just using it as a way to get them to react. And then I follow up with an ET. That is why, one, the flanker carries so many missiles, and two, it's not about actually getting the kill on the first shot, but it's more so about putting each player or putting the bandit in a position where they're no longer applying pressure to you but reacting to you. And as you can see on the growling side or on your server, certain people just launch every missile they have and fly away. But I've effectively gotten the little bird guy out of the fight, and now I can focus on the bandit in front of me. And he has pretty much lost his situational awareness at this point, and it allows me to press him and get the kill. And what you've seen is that I took a 2v1 scenario with a non-Fox 3 missile and came out on top because of the way that I employed the missile. you're able to apply pressure at a greater distance, which is one of your greatest advantages because people still have to respect the capability of the ER. Alright, so now let's take a look and see what really happened in that engagement. Once again, this is another 2v1 scenario, and I take advantage of the ER's range to get the first bandit to go defensive. And what I'm about to introduce to any of you flanker pilots is ripple fire, which is the firing of a Fox 1 and a Fox 2, and the Fox 2 is hidden behind the Fox 1. But I get the first bandit to go defensive, and once he's done so, I break my lock. I don't need the missile anymore, it served its purpose. Now I fire an ER on the second bandit, and I sneak in an ET. So in this person's mind, well, it's a flanker. All I have to do is defeat his ER, and once it goes quiet on the RWR, I can press hot. Well, that's what I want you to do. Because once you go hot, what you don't know is the ET is right behind it. And watch and see what happens here. And there we go.
Обнаружена новая цель. 278. Удаление 220 на 500. Дистанция не меняется.
Alright, so let's go ahead and discuss what happened in that clip. So what I'm going to show you now is how to put the ER's advantages, or to use the ER's advantages, which is speed and range, in a 1v1 scenario. So in this scenario, I'm going up against a Hornet, and the one thing I have over the Hornet is my ER. I can fire it at a longer range, and it still has to be respected somewhat because it has better kinematic potential than the AMRAAM. And this person may not know that, it doesn't matter, but what he does know is there's a missile coming at him. So now I fire my ER outside of his range. There's nothing he can do at this point. He only has two options. He can either evade the missile and go cold and call it a day, or keep pressing while under pressure until he gets in range to fire an AMRAAM. Only problem is he has to fight through this barrage of missiles in order to get one off. And I'm not going to let off the pressure because now I have the advantage. And he is pretty much reacting to me. And that's what you want to do in a flanker. You want to have people reacting to what you're doing. And this is pretty much a straightforward kill on this part. I just keep the pressure on him. I keep him reacting. I'm cranking. I'm not allowing him to get a good read on where I'm at or what I'm doing, or to at least get a log. And he wouldn't get one anyway because he's maneuvering too much to avoid the ERs and the ETs, and it's a kill. And now some of you may be wondering, well, Sequoia, these are all good scenarios, but what happens when you're going up against a bandit that has more speed and more altitude than you? What happens when you're at the disadvantage? What can you do? Well, first let's watch this clip where I'm going up against an F-14 that is going, I believe, almost Mach 3 or Mach 2, I don't quite remember, but an F-14 that has the range advantage and the speed advantage over me, and let's see how that plays out and discuss it afterwards. Alright, so in this engagement, I knew it was an F-14 because one, the distance in which he fired his missiles on me was too great to be anything other than an F-14. And here's a problem that I have to tackle. How do I attack an F-14 that outranges me to such a great extent? Well, if you notice, I put myself perpendicular to the F-14 because I want to increase the distance his missiles have to travel to intercept me. And I also want to increase the distance he has to travel in order to get a lock. Basically reduce my closure rate. And because of that, one, it makes the bandit get closer, which puts him in my range where I need him to be, and it makes his missiles lose energy. It's all about energy, especially when it comes to missile kinematics. And what you'll see is he fires on me, and I go perpendicular, and I tilt somewhat down towards the earth, and I actually notch these phoenixes. I didn't use any chaff, anything like that. The missiles go dumb. And one thing you'll understand is that the AIM-54 is horrible at looking down. It does not filter out ground cutter well, and you can see that in here. Now another thing is, I do not want to be pressured, because if you saw what happened to that Hornet, being pressured is not good. So I launch a Fox 1 on the F-14. But you're probably wondering, well, Sakura, how'd you fire a Fox 1? You were at 80 kilometers. Well, I used the launch override because I need him to react. I need him to go defensive maneuver. I need to kill his altitude advantage and his speed advantage, and that's exactly what happens. Now we've reset the playing field here. Now we're both on equal terms. And he fires another Phoenix at me, and I put another Fox on him. Once again, I just need him to react. I need him to feel the pressure. I don't need this to be a one-sided fight. And then once I get the desired effect and he maneuvers, I no longer need the missile. It did what it was supposed to do. I go perpendicular to the bandit and his missile, which I didn't even know was coming because I notched it. And as you can see, he crashes. But what you can take away from this is pressure and reactions. You don't need to get kills, you just need to make certain moves happen that work in your favor. Now this last clip is just a clip of me actually notching a Hornet and not realizing that he'd already fired on me multiple times because I already defeated his missile off the rails. And what you'll see in the attack view is I see on my RWR that he's spiking me, so I immediately slow my speed down, go into the notch, and I drop chaff. Now you may wonder why are you going to drop chaff? Well, if you're in the notch, it filters you out correct. So if you drop chaff before going into the notch, the chaff is more effective because you are no longer popping up on radar. But the one thing that's saying, hey, look at me, is your chaff. And once you see the attack view for this engagement, you'll see how effective this maneuver can really be.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Fuel 1500.
Pull up. 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 Pull up.